Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, beta, as usual, we'll start the class by taking one question. And today, the question which I want to go ahead and I want to take is question number 3 of IAS Economics Optional 2022 paper. Okay, let's see the question. So, it's question 1C. In demand for money, what are the major differences between transaction approach and cash balance approach? What are the major differences between transaction approach and cash balance approach? So try to understand that when we talk about the transaction approach, it was a Fisher's approach. And when we talk about the cash balance approach, it was Cambridge approach, right? So both are different things. Firstly, with respect to who gave what. Secondly, whenever we talk about transaction approach, as the word suggests, we are relating to the number of transactions that are being conducted. Right? When we talk about cash balance approach, as the word suggests, we want to relate money to the cash that people hold. Right? So transaction, we want to relate money to the number, to the volume of trade and velocity. And cash balance approach, we want to relate money to the cash, to the money you hold, right? So this is what you have to go ahead and you have to mainly focus on. Now, again, you have to remember that this is going to be an answer which you have to write in 150 words, right? So you have to make sure that you write as crisp as possible. Okay? In such questions, when they ask you the difference between two things, you can also go ahead. Though I don't personally, I don't kind of like writing in a paragraph. You can write it in a paragraph, but if you write it in maybe a box, if you write transaction approach on one side and cash balance approach on the other side, if you go ahead and if you do that, there is nothing like it, right? It will be very, very useful, right? You will score excellent marks in that case. Okay. So that will be a good approach to follow. Okay. Let us go ahead and let us write down the answer to this one. So I'm going to make a table. And I'm going to say transaction approach and cash balance approach. Right. Firstly, beta, we'll begin by who gave what. So transaction approach, it was given by Fisher, and cash balance approach, it was given by Cambridge of Economics. Right? Transaction, as the word suggests, it mainly focuses on demand of money to carry day-to-day transactions. So basically, we are saying that whatever money we need, that money is to go ahead and to carry out the day-to-day transactions, right? On the other hand, when we talk about cash balance approach, as the word suggests, it is the money which you need uh, which you hold, right? Because you want to store money, right? So it understands, it goes ahead and it identifies money as a store of value, right? So it views money as a store of value, right? It suggests money is held as proportion of income to meet future needs. तो कुछ पैसा हम फ्यूचर के लिए छोड़ देते हैं और कुछ पैसा हम करंट में कंज्यूम कर देते हैं. सो मनी इज रिक्वायर्ड टू मीट इवन द फ्यूचर नीड्स, राइट? नाउ when we talk about the transaction approach, the equation is MV is equal to PT. And when we talk about the cash balance approach, so M is equal to 1 by V PY. It begins by stating MV is equal to PY. Takes V on the other side, it becomes M equal to 1 by V PY. 1 by V becomes K PY. And this becomes the cash balance approach. M is equal to KY, right? And this basically, it it says MV is equal to PT, right? So we can say that here the focus is on transactions, and here the focus is on cash holding, right? So because we are talking about transactions, in a way, this is very mechanical approach. कि जितने transaction करना उतना आप उतना money you will hold. So it is mechanical in nature. Whereas this talks about cash dependent on the income that you have, right? So it is a very behavioral approach. Behavioral. It is a behavioral approach, right? Acha, either ways, whether we talk about transaction demand or whether we talk about cash balance approach, please remember that we assume that the velocity of money is constant. That is something which is across the two approaches. कि जो भी हमारा velocity of money होगा, जो हमारा V होगा, वो constant होगा. अब केस 1 में जब V कांस्टेंट है तो इट इज फाइन, बट केस 2 में V से हम बनता है 1 by V. 1 by V is K, and K is the proportion of money, right? K is the proportion of money. किसी इनकम का कितना proportion हम मनी में होल्ड कर रहे हैं, right? So you have to understand that the meaning of K changes. But since K is 1 by V and V is constant, तो K is also assumed to be constant. ठीक है? Now, when we एक और बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, whenever we talk about so whenever we talk about the Fisher approach, क्योंकि वहां पे V आ रहा है, you can say that, please make a note, it focuses on velocity of money, right? That is the rate at which money changes hands. When we talk about cash balance approach, it emphasizes the proportion of income that means it emphasizes on K, which people want to hold as cash balance. So here the focus is on V, and here the focus is on K. That is also another thing, right? तो ट्रांजैक्शन अप्रोच बोल रहे हैं कि मनी इज अ फ्लो कॉन्सेप्ट, एक इंसान से दूसरे इंसान से तीसरे इंसान, इकोनॉमी में घूमता रहता है ना। सो अकॉर्डिंग टू कैश बैलेंस, सॉरी, ट्रांजैक्शन अप्रोच, मनी इज अ flow concept, right? That means it goes round and round throughout the economy. It keeps moving throughout the economy. But cash balance approach, it sees money as a stock concept. स्टॉक क्या था बेटा? स्टॉक माने जब हम किसी चीज का so accumulation of flow is stock, right? So here money is a stock concept because it is thought that it is an inventory of wealth. It is at any point of time, right? So that people hold at any point of time. तो जो हमारा मनी है वो एक जगह पे स्टॉक कॉन्सेप्ट है और एक जगह पे फ्लो कॉन्सेप्ट है. दैट इज द डिफरेंस, राइट? ओके. बिकॉज ट्रांजैक्शन डिमांड ऑफ मनी सिर्फ एक मैकेनिकल अप्रोच है विच वी हैव रिटन, वी कैन से दैट इट इज अ नैरो डेफिनेशन ऑफ मनी, जो बोलता है कि मनी सिर्फ ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए यूज होता है. Whereas the other one, जो हमारा cash balance approach है, we can say it is a very, it's comparatively broader definition क्योंकि ये stock of money को consider कर रहा है, ये money as a store of value consider कर रहा है, right? So it's a better framework, right? इसी की वजह से because of this approach, because of the cash balance approach, we are able to better explain why trade cycles occur, right? We're able to better explain what happens in the economy. So we can go ahead and we can say that it is according the cash balance approach, it is more comprehensive and analytical tool, right? It considers a more analytical tool, it considers a more comprehensive tool, right? So this is what is there. Acha, Cambridge school mein, if someone asks you ki ma'am, give me one name, right? So you have to understand that here you can give various names under the Cambridge school. That is why I have not given a particular name, but example will be Robertson equation of money. यहाँ पे अगर हमें एग्जाम्पल देना है तो हम रॉबर्टसन इक्वेशन को दे सकते हैं, राइट? ओके, सो दिस इज अनदर डिफरेंस दैट यू हैव. ओके बेटा, जब हम इसकी बात करते हैं तो आई होप आई हैव रिटन दैट when we talk about money as a store of value versus money to carry day-to-day transaction, हाँ, स्टोर ऑफ वैल्यू होते ही, स्टोर जब हम किसी चीज को करते हैं क्योंकि वो एक स्टॉक कॉन्सेप्ट बन जाता है, तो इसलिए ये आप पोर्टफोलियो में यूज कर सकते हैं, right? I am storing something. It's a store of value. It means that when I create my portfolio, जिसमें I will include share, I will include debentures, I will include mutual funds, money भी एक item है मेरे portfolio का, right? So we can say that this, it has been developed into portfolio or capital theoretic approach. Whereas this one, it has given rise to inventory theory of money. It has given rise to inventory theory of money because यहाँ पे हम सिर्फ ये बोल रहे हैं कि money is just changing hands. ठीक है बेटा, ये सारे हो गए differences. This is more than enough for the answer. But suppose you want to still conclude, if you want to conclude this, I have written all the possible differences here, but अगर इसको हमें एक अच्छे से conclusion देना है, तो आप end में ये बता सकते हो that Cambridge approach जो है वो एक comparatively superior approach है, right? So the Cambridge approach is a superior approach as it is broader, comprehensive, right? And takes into account income level, right? So it takes into account M, not P, right? It also suggests that P may change even without change in M and is more significant in explaining trade cycles. Is more significant in explaining trade cycles. This is the end of it. ठीक है बेटा? जो हमारा केम्ब्रिज अप्रोच है ये बहुत बेटर अप्रोच है, ज्यादा रियलिस्टिक है. हाँ, इट्स द बेसिस ऑफ लिक्विडिटी प्रेफरेंस थ्योरी. इट इज मच मोर realistic, broader, comprehensive as compared to the other approach, as compared to the Fisher approach. Is this clear, beta? ठीक है. Okay. So this is it for the question that I wanted to